Coming up today on Your Sastastic Life, our guest is Nikki Russell, a certified group fitness instructor and nutrition coach. Her passion for encouraging others to achieve their goals and to feel their best prompted her to open Aptitude Fitness in the fall of 2021. We talk about our hormones in relation to nutrition and fitness. Buckle up. Here comes the sass.
Your Sastastic Life with hosts Trisha Rivas and Wendy Fredrigel.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome.
Hello, hello.
We have Nikki Russell in the studio today.
Hello. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we're so excited to have you. There's so many things we can talk about.
Yes.
Wow. But I want to point out that you got to go to the
Yes. I was like, okay, we have to bring that up.
Oh, okay. Yes. We got home last night.
Oh, bless you.
My husband and I were able to see some of the track and field events and then the closing ceremony.
Wow.
Yeah. It was a bucket list, once in a lifetime. Super glad that we went.
That's awesome.
So tell us what you do in the world, because this would probably make sense why you would even be like more geeked out to go to the Olympics.
Yeah. So I own Aptitude Fitness. I am a group exercise certified coach and also a nutrition coach. Mm-hmm. We opened Aptitude about 3 years ago, and we are not affiliated with any chains or other big box gyms. We kind of just went at it ourselves and are super involved in the community and embedded in the community.
Yes, I love that. Mm-hmm. So you're a runner.
Yes.
When did that start? I mean, did you always love it as a kid?
No. I hated it. Actually, I did one season of track when I was in 8th grade because one of my teachers told me that I should get involved in some sports, and there were limited sports available in the last, spring semester of school. So I did track, discovered I had asthma, and then I was like, that's it. This is why I can't run. And then I went through a pretty tough breakup in my 30s. I had an engagement that was called off, and I ran a marathon. So, and then after that, I got done with that marathon, and I signed up for 2 more about within 24 hours of finishing, and have just been going ever since. I run about 2 marathons a year.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's great.
So have you done the Boston?
I did.
Oh,
yeah.
Good for
2 years ago.
You have to qualify for that one.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, and the energy there is amazing.
That's what I've been told.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I've been told. So I have to ask, do you remember in 8th grade when you had to do the minute mile? Or the one?
I walked it. I would walk them. Yeah.
The stupid physical fitness test. Literally, I was at the gym with my trainer, and we were going to do like pull-ups. I said, I have trauma from the freaking physical fitness test because most girls, and I've even read that structurally we're not meant to do pull-ups. We're not built the way that men are.
No, we are not.
And they made you do it in front of the entire class.
Yeah.
And I could never do it. And then, I had so much trauma. I said, can we do a different? I don't want to do this.
How about climbing ropes? Did they ever put a rope to the rack?
Yeah. All that.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
We just hang for a second.
Yes, we did all of that. And again, very, very competitive against myself. And that was not always healthy either, because when you couldn't do it, like you said, it was embarrassing.
It was embarrassing.
Yes.
Okay.
It was embarrassing.
I have to tell the story really quick.
Yeah.
Junior high, you know how traumatizing junior high is.
Yes.
Okay. PE class, I had to come in late. Physical fitness day. Everybody has their partner for sit-ups.
Oh.
So Wendy has to have the PE teacher as her partner. So the middle-aged PE teacher is holding my feet, and I'm doing sit-ups, and I farted.
I knew you were going to say that. Yep.
I literally died that day.
Did anyone else hear it?
I fortunately no, because we were on the mat. We could have been on the hard floor and it could have reverberated. But I'll never forget. I froze. And I just was staring up at her like, and then I just started laughing. I couldn't do any more sit-ups because I was laughing so hard.
Did she start laughing?
She was laughing. And finally she tapped my knee. I think I was at like 15 or something.
That's funny.
She tapped my knee. She goes, we'll call it 20.
We'll call it 20, you little tutor.
I think I called my mom and went home that day because I just...
it would have been worse if it was with like a friend.
Oh,
The
gosh.
teacher's not going to tell anyone.
No.
Oh, I'm sure she told everybody.
Oh, gosh.
Anyway, side note,
Yeah.
physical fitness test. So
Yeah. But still, I have to say this, and I don't know about you guys, but I still laugh at farts.
Oh, yeah.
Like
gosh,
this
yes.
8-year-old boy, and I still laugh.
Yes. My mom has been avoiding going to yoga classes because she's so worried she's going to fart.
I mean, that's real. That's fair.
It is. It
Yes.
is.
Okay.
Anyway,
We digressed.
we digress. Oh, those physical fitness tests. Oh, anyhow. So do you think that the running do you think it helped you kind of cope with
Healing.
Yeah.
all
Was it
healing?
Yeah. It's kind of a coping mechanism
Mhm.
for me today still.
Mm.
Yeah.
When I'm really stressed, if I go for a run,
Mhm.
my husband jokes when I'm injured, he can definitely tell that I can't run, and he can tell when I can healthy enough to start running again because my mood changes.
Yeah.
There's something real to it. It's definitely a mental boost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we were talking before we started, like the runner's high is a real
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
You don't have to necessarily go very long distance,
Yeah.
but it just helps me get a really clear mind.
Mhm.
Or if I'm overthinking things, I can just think about it on the run. Pounding the pavement helps me just kind of mellow out.
Yeah. Do you listen to music when you run?
Sometimes.
Okay.
I don't normally because it is the one time. Today we are so overscheduled and just so inundated with noise.
Yeah.
I feel like it is the one time of the day where I am not connected to technology and I can just be with my thoughts.
Yeah.
Or I'm with friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
My husband and I actually, this is going to sound lame. I realize that as it's coming out of my mouth, but our dates are often our long runs because
Okay.
we have a 4 and a 6-year-old.
Yeah.
And they do not like us to talk to each other.
No, they don't.
No.
Mm-mm.
And I don't know if that ever changes.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay, good to know. But when we're training for a marathon and we have 2 to 4 hour long runs, no, never 4-hour long run, but 2 to 3 hours.
Yeah.
It's like 2 to 3 hours of uninterrupted
Yeah.
time to actually talk to each other, which is
Yes.
pretty golden.
Mhm.
Yes.
I
agree.
love that. And I love that you guys honor that for each other.
Yeah,
I
you
didn't
need to.
listen to music either. It was nice to have quiet.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, there's always a balance that's hard to keep.
Yeah.
And so it's not good if we're couch potatoes and doing nothing, but then it's easy to get maybe obsessive with exercise or
Yeah.
nutrition. So can you share a little bit about your history with that?
Yeah. So I didn't even know that there was a name for obsessing over calories, obsessing over healthy eating, and obsessing over exercising. It's called orthorexia. When I was going through my nutrition certification, I was highlighting everything that was coming up about this because I didn't realize it, but I struggled with this probably beginning in high school all the way through my 20s. And, as I reflected on it more, it was, as running is like a coping mechanism for me now, this was kind of a control mechanism.
Mm.
In high school, my senior year, my friend group started to change. So these girls that I was friends with for years suddenly realized that we didn't necessarily have the same interests and we started growing apart. So exercise and eating healthy became something that I obsessed over. It seemed to be thinking back about it, the only thing that I can control. Then you go to college, right? Everything's out of control. And I mean, my diet when I graduated college would be to skip breakfast. I would drink coffee, black coffee, nothing added. I would have, do you remember Power Bars?
Oh,
Yes.
Pieces like cardboard, but everybody ate them.
yes. Oh, yeah.
And a diet soda.
Mhm.
And then I would just go way overboard at dinner. But that would be what I ate. And I would still get to the gym 2 times a day because I would study while I was on an elliptical or a
Yeah.
treadmill. That's when I would get my hours in studying.
Yeah.
So, and those were just habits that I kept through my 20s. I started dating someone in my high school who I didn't know it at the time, but it was very unhealthy. He was controlling. So when I felt like I was being controlled, this was a part of my life that I could control. So that's kind of my history with it. And I've seen it in my nutrition coaching. Most often, when I'm approached by moms who want to get help for their daughters, what I have noticed is that the daughters are often struggling with some piece of orthorexia. So it is, a piece of knowledge that I can then talk with the mom, like your daughter doesn't have a disorder yet, but these are some things I want you to look for. It's like red
Sure.
flags. And just really work with them to focus more on the healthy eating and that food is fuel. Food is our friend.
Yeah.
We just need to know how to honor our body and give it what it needs because our bodies are so complex. And,
Mhm.
that just brings me to another point. Like our body is so complex that we're not small men. We are made differently. Like we have smaller hearts, smaller lungs. Our muscle fibers are made differently. We are so complex human beings. Food is actually our friend and it's our fuel. And we can honor our body by learning how to fuel it correctly.
Yeah.
Yes.
That makes sense.
That's been huge. I think your average woman is not eating near enough protein.
No, yes, exactly.
And so,
Mm.
I mean, I'm shooting for like 130 grams a day
Yep.
and it's challenging. I mean, it's probably it's way more food than I was eating before,
Mhm.
but it just goes to show you, I was doing the same thing. I wasn't eating enough
Mhm.
and wondered why I was so tired. And so I'm eating more food now, but I've lost
Yeah.
body fat, I've gained muscle. So it's just that old school diet restriction. It
Exactly.
doesn't work,
It does not work for women.
Yeah.
It
right?
can work for men. So I don't know if you've ever you started a new diet at the same time as your partner did or anything, or even the same time as a girlfriend, and you'd notice that your results are vastly different than them. We are made so much differently. Men can do a keto diet,
Mhm.
consistently
Yeah.
and have amazing results, or a low carb diet, or all of these fads. Men can do them and see results, but women often can't
Mm.
because with the hormones, we have 3 sex hormones compared to their 1.
Yep.
Mhm.
And our hormones are constantly cycling through our body, no matter if you are on birth control, whether you're perimenopausal or menopausal. We have these 3 hormones that are on a cycle. And we need to fuel our bodies differently at different points of our cycle to help feed and to metabolize those hormones so that we are optimizing our body. Just for, and we can do that by our diet and by our fitness. There are
Mhm.
different ways to approach things throughout the month. And this is something that I've started really geeking out about and getting really passionate about because of my own experience.
Yeah.
As a runner, I had a coach a few years ago that I've noticed that there are certain times of the month where I can have the same workout that I did last week, but I am not recovering as well. I am not running as fast, and I just feel lousy.
Yeah.
And I asked him about it, and I asked him, are there like certain weeks that you can give me down weeks, or can I just give you feedback? And he did not get it. And so I knew that there was something to it and have done the research now to know that I was right. There is definitely a period of time where our body needs more rest. There's a period of time when our body is made to go. We're actually physically stronger during certain times of our cycle. It's mind blowing to me. The more I learn about it, the more I geek out about it because our bodies are so fascinating.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I've delved into that myself. And I think not even just physically, but mentally,
I was
Yes.
just going to say that.
it's
the
certain
brain
parts of our
fog.
Yes.
cycle.
The brain fog or being more alert.
Yep.
I mean, I completely agree with you on that.
Well, and I think what we do is we take it personal and we shame ourselves. Like, what's wrong with me? Why
Yeah.
am I? But it's like,
Yeah.
wait, hold on.
Yeah.
This isn't a character flaw. This is my hormones. This
Yeah.
is,
Mhm.
Yep.
I think,
But
our
it's taboo
first,
to talk about.
right? And thank God more people are talking about it
Yeah.
now. Okay, so sorry, I feel like I'm bouncing all over the place. I just love talking about this kind of stuff. So, what do you think is your favorite thing that you learned with your nutrition training?
It's a good question. For me, it has been how to fuel myself as an athlete
Mm.
and now working with other athletes. To your point, women in general are not eating enough protein.
Yeah.
protein actually aids in weight loss.
Mhm.
So yes, you pointed out you're eating more than you did before.
Mhm.
You're probably eating differently, making different choices.
Yeah.
When you don't get the calories or the proper, so I'm just going to break it down because not everybody listening to this might know what macros are or macronutrients. So your macros are your carbs, your proteins, and your fats. As a woman, we should not ever engage in a diet that is going to restrict any of those three things.
Mm.
Our body is made to need all three of those things, but we do need them differently during different parts of our cycles. That said, we always need a moderate amount of protein.
Mm.
Your body, I don't think that I've ever really seen a low protein diet fad. Maybe there's one that I'm not thinking of.
Yeah.
But there's a reason for that. Our
Mhm.
bodies are made to need protein. It aids in so many different things within our body. And as women, we're typically not getting enough protein. So the gold standard is about 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight.
Mm.
That is extremely hard to reach, extremely hard. So the fallback is, as women, I want to see everybody getting at least 90 to 100 grams daily
Mhm.
to get yourself into a good state.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah. I think the other thing it's one of those things like I knew it because I'm a certified health coach. Like I knew these things, but until you actually do it.
Yeah.
When I'm getting the protein, I'm not hungry. I'm not trying to eat sugary stuff because I'm actually full.
It sustains you.
It sustains you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't, if you are on birth control where you are skipping your period, your body is still going through the different
Exactly.
hormones.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
this is the part that really sucked and that kind of devastated me when I learned it is even after menopause, we
Yeah.
are still cycling these
Yes.
3 hormones. It does
Mhm.
not ever stop.
Mhm.
Yes.
So
just because you're not having a period, it doesn't mean that
no, because that's just
cycling-
how we're made.
Exactly.
We are
Yes.
not men.
Yeah.
And I think, talking about society, a lot of manufacturers, they shrink it and pink it.
Yeah.
If it works for a man, it's going to work for you just in smaller doses because
Yeah.
we are, let's say air quotes, small men, right?
Yeah.
But we are not. We are so different for reasons that I already pointed out. We have smaller hearts, we have smaller lungs, we have different muscle fibers. So men's bodies are made more like a Mustang, if
Mhm.
you want to do like a car analogy. They have fast switch fibers, so they can rev up and they can go, but they're going to burn more gas and they're not going to be able to go as far and as long.
Okay.
Women are going to be more like your Prius.
Mhm.
They are sustainable. They use less energy. They can go further, but they may not hit the ground running as fast as that Mustang. But then at some point, the Mustang is going to start to die out and that Prius is going to keep going steady.
Yeah.
So we're made for endurance. A lot of that, goes back, if you go back ancestorial,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
It makes sense
It
for
does.
what our roles were
Mhm.
back then.
Mhm. Mhm.
So, as athletes, longer, further, men are going to have more of the shorter power,
Yeah.
things like that. But going back to it, there are basically 2 phases, if you will, of our cycle as we're cycling through our hormones. It can be broken into a high phase and a low phase. And our low phase is when we're going to be physiologically more like men. We
Mhm.
won't require as many carbs. We're
Mhm.
going to have naturally more energy.
Yeah.
So if you were going to do a keto diet during the low phases of your cycle is when that keto diet would work very well for you.
Okay.
And we are also, this is insane, but we're physically stronger
Mm.
during that time period. So strength training is going to feel better.
Yeah.
You're going to be able to lift more than you may in a week when you're in a
Mhm.
high phase.
Mhm.
A high phase, we want to slow down.
Mm.
It's our body's way of telling us it is just time to slow down.
Yeah.
We need to slow down. We are starting to produce progesterone, which is a very powerful hormone. And going back to what we were talking about earlier, in today's society, this is counterculture.
Yes, I
hustle.
was just going to say that, Nikki. I was
Yeah.
just going to say that.
We don't, and I want to say as women, we have so many demands. You know, some of us are moms.
Yeah.
We're working. We don't ever stop. We push ourselves to, you know, just keep going, going, going. We're in a world that doesn't stop. It promotes more production and more and more and more. There's so much noise. We aren't honoring our bodies and giving it what it needs during this time, which is rest. So it's super
Yeah.
counterproductive. And when we stress our bodies with all of those things that are, you know, prized by our culture, we are actually harming our body because our body starts to focus more on cortisol during that stressed out state versus producing progesterone, which is going to help us kind of, you know, get to that next power phase within our cycle.
Yeah.
So the intermittent fasting, that's like a big thing right now.
Yeah.
But I've been told that there's certain times that during your cycle you should not be fasting. Is that correct?
It is. And I would point anybody to the book Fast Like a Girl.
Yes, that's a great book.
It is an amazing book.
It's amazing.
I listened to it on podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one that is also really good that I love that goes into the fitness aspect of it is called Roar.
Okay.
So like, you know, kind of how your body performs during certain types. And they both work together because they're both based on science.
Okay.
But if you go back to Fast Like a Girl, she does a very good job of it, that there are certain times of the month where you can do like long-term fasting.
Yeah.
And then as far as intermittent fasting, it changes. So you can't just always say like my open window, in intermittent fasting, it's called an open window. The times when you're going to be eating are consistently going to be this time to this time. It needs to change because certain times of your cycle, that window needs to be open longer.
Yeah.
Your body's just not going to be okay with a shorter window for you to eat.
Yeah.
How lovely would it be if this was something that was taught in corporate America?
Amazing.
Honestly. I mean, I'm just thinking of how much more production would get done, how healthier people would be mentally, physically, probably even financially.
Yes.
I mean, honestly, because it's not a one size fits all.
No, it's not.
And we forget that. I think especially in the United States.
We do. We forget that, and we're pushed, right, to fit the mold and to like be in this box that is one size fits all.
Yeah.
And if we are outside of that box, we can be seen as the weaker sex, which we have been for decades.
Yeah. Well, and I was just thinking too of how women then start to educate themselves as we all have, including Jason in this room, because he has, 3 daughters. Then when we educate ourselves, it's almost looked upon as not being normal. What do you mean? You're doing something different. You're not doing what you have normally been doing. What's going on?
Yeah.
So that can be challenging at times also.
Very much
it
so.
Can be. It can be, because I think you get wiser as you get older.
Most definitely.
And
I
then
would never want to go back to my 20s.
Oh, fuck no. Hell no. No. So yes, it can be challenging. It can be. And it can be difficult also during those times of your cycle, because it's like, okay, now I got to focus on this. Now I got to focus on this. And it's just like on top of everything else that you have going on.
Yes. So my passion is I want to help women figure that out.
Yes.
You don't have to figure this out alone.
Yeah.
And like, wouldn't it be nice if someone just told you, hey, this week, focus on this?
Oh my gosh, yes.
Gave you the formula.
Yes.
Well, that's kind of where I'm geeking out in my career right now, is wanting to help women, educate them on where they are, and just give them the tools so that you don't have to do all this thinking, because we have enough going on.
Yeah. Well, and Nikki, and I'm just thinking, how does this help with anxiety and depression? We see a lot of this in our young women.
Yeah.
Is this something that could help with that also?
Most definitely. If we're honoring our hormones instead of fighting against what is natural for the body, we're going to calm the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cortisol.
Yeah.
Well, I think too, you've talked a lot about athletes. So when you're an athlete, you really do have to pay attention to food as fuel. So I'm thinking of non-athletes. They aren't really taught or don't get to physically experience why that's so important. So how do we help people that are non-athletes that haven't had to make that mind-body connection to perform?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of non-athletes out there that are struggling.
Yeah.
And
I'm really glad that you asked that. And
Yeah.
I want to back up. And in my mind, when I say athletes, I view everybody as an athlete. There are
That's
everyday
true. I
athletes,
love that.
and then there are performing athletes.
Mm.
But we're all built to
move.
move.
Yeah.
So we are all everyday athletes.
Yeah.
So thank you for asking that question. And every time that I have said athletes, I'm meant to be inclusive of everybody.
Yeah.
So, and this is a part of the education that I think is missing. You know, we focus so much on calories.
Mhm.
What if you didn't focus on calories and stress about restricting yourself, but focus more on food that is nutritious, food that comes from the earth versus food that is processed?
Yep.
Gave your body what it actually needs by eating, food that's grown in the earth typically has the nutrients that we need. We're so nutrient deficient because we don't rely on it anymore. But just give our body what it needs and then time it. Eat what you need based on hormone production or hormone metabolizing, and it becomes intuitive instead of having to think about it so much.
Yes.
Because the less I have to think about
Right.
with it, the better.
I think we think that we have to be experts in everything,
Exactly.
but we don't.
No.
Like,
and why would we want to be?
We don't have
Because we have the internet.
Oh, fuck the internet.
Yeah, we have Dr. Google.
Oh my gosh.
I
love when my dad will say, well, ask that Google.
that Google.
He can't ask it because he has a flip phone. Bless him.
Yeah,
I'm about ready to go back
I
to
was
one.
on Verizon the other day checking out flip phones. I was considering it. So we love to ask, with everything that you've learned and everything that you've gone through, what would you tell your 18-year-old self knowing what you know now?
Oh gosh. Your body's going to get you so many places. Don't harm it. Honor it. Yeah, I think that's what I would say.
Yeah.
I love that.
So
Don't
many
harm
women
it,
are
but
at
honor it.
war with their bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we at war with ourselves?
Well, I think we've been conditioned
Yeah,
to
for
do
sure.
that. I do. I think we've been conditioned to do that by ourselves, from ourselves, and as other women.
Yeah.
I really do. I do. I don't think this is a male versus female. I think we've done it amongst ourselves.
I think it's the women who are judging other women.
Yes. Yeah.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So what advice would you give women who because I get a little nervous because I have a history of obsessing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So what's that fine line between, because I feel like I'm either obsessing or I'm like, fuck it, I'm just going to eat whatever I want. Like, how do we, I hate the word balance because I don't think that that's realistic.
Harmony.
There is nothing that is, when I am coaching somebody, there is nothing that is a no.
Yeah.
There is nothing that can be, that, should be restricted, but let's look at it more in moderation.
Yeah. I love that.
Because if you start restricting things and you tell yourself that this is bad and this is good, again, there's no good and there's no bad food. There's food that has more nutrients and food that has less nutrients. Yeah. So make choices for food that has less nutrients, a little bit less, a little bit more on the food that has more nutrients. Yeah. But don't kick yourself if you go for something that has no nutritional value. I want to circle back too that there is actually science behind on our cycle. There's going to be a time when you crave dark chocolate or chocolate and salt. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason for that. During that time, your body is working so hard, it actually burns 150 calories more a day. Wow. And 150 calories is the same size as a small bar of chocolate or a snack bag of chips. So don't kick yourself. Yeah. If your body is telling you that, hey, I'm craving salt today, have that bag of chips. Yeah. But don't say, fuck it, and just go mess up the rest of the day.
Yeah. Or the week or the month.
Exactly. Yeah. You had it. Get over it. Yeah. Your body was telling you needed it.
Yeah.
and then hit reset and get back into it.
Yeah.
So I think the biggest challenge is the judgment.
We're hard on ourselves.
So hard
Exactly.
on ourselves.
So
Exactly.
having more grace, just loving yourselves. And then it's also countercultural. I feel we want to go, we're in this big thing right now where it's like, love yourself, self-love, self-care, things like that. Well, how did we get there if we weren't so hard on ourselves all the time?
Yeah. Again, there's no harmony. It's just swinging. That pendulum's just swinging like a big elephant trunk. And it's just over here. It's over here. There's nothing in the middle.
Yeah.
And we need to have, like you said, moderation.
Yeah. Just reframe the conversation from good to bad. There's nothing good. There's nothing bad.
Yeah.
It's just moderation and having it's hard because I don't want to say like have a healthy outlook on food because that's so hard. It's hard. We've been conditioned by advertising and by so many other things that this is good and this is bad for you.
Yeah.
There's not anything good or bad.
Yeah.
It's just about resetting and getting yourself back into a positive mindset in view of where you're going with your fitness and with your food.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
I love that. I love that you mentioned that because we are all athletes.
Yeah.
We're all meant to move and it's proven. I've been reading a lot how important it is to just go on walks. It helps our hippocampus.
Yeah.
Like as we get older. So we all need to think of ourselves as athletes. And I think if we do that, we're going to be a lot more mindful about what we put in our mouth.
Yeah.
It's amazing how many people don't think about how food is fuel and medicine.
Well, and there's research, going back to your question about anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
There's research linked to processed food leading to increased anxiety and depression.
Yeah.
Too.
I'm not surprised at all.
Yeah. And it's easy.
It is. It's
Isn't it?
so easy. And in a world that pushes us, we just need to grab and go.
Exactly.
Well, and they in the lab know what's going to be addictive. That's what
Of course they do.
Yeah.
Like they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Of course.
We don't need sugar and pickles.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
We don't need sugar and ketchup.
No.
Yeah. It's in there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I love it. Well, thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you.
We will definitely be sending people your way if they want to know more about our cycles because let's work with our biology instead of against it. Right?
Exactly.
And I think we're also trained to think of, periods as bad, but
So my mom was like, when I told her that I was going to start speaking about this and educating about this, she's like, you think people want to talk about that? I'm like,
yes, they do.
Yeah, I think we're ready to.
It's not a shameful thing to talk about.
No, it's not.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not shameful to talk about menopause and your cycle. And no, it is not shameful.
And somebody's got to start talking about it.
Yeah.
So we're sassy. We'll talk about anything.
I love it.
And Jason's along for the ride.
He's learning all kinds of stuff.
He is. He is. Yep. Yes, he is.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. Sincerely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right, everybody. Start checking out macros. Get your protein.
And fast like a girl and roar.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Fast like a girl
We'll
and
add
roar.
that to the show notes.
Yeah. Awesome.
Bye.
Your Sastastic Life is produced by Apex Creative. Go to apexcreative.vip. That's APEXX creative.vip.